The reason that you're not consistent in any endeavor that you have is because you are still taking the approach that it has to be all or nothing. A lot of gurus and everybody on YouTube will like to say, you have to become obsessed with this thing in order to see results, to get things. And for the most part, that's probably wrong. And I know it's wrong because every time that I've gotten balls to the walls, went to one side, one extreme way of doing something, I have seen some sort of, improvement, but I have never been able to maintain it. And just like anybody who's ever experienced anxiety or depression or, just high levels of happiness or mania, they know that that extreme behavior, that extreme feeling is unsustainable. And that's why a lot of people do a lot of drugs to try and maintain that level of happiness or sadness, as some people do. Some people like to feel sad. So what do you do with this information is you realize that you cannot do everything in an all or nothing fashion. If you want to get ripped as fast as possible, you could not eat for 40 days and you can get there and your body will probably hate you for it, but you'll get there. You'll get ripped. You'll get super skinny. You'll get what you want. But what happens after those 40 days? Well, I'm telling you that your body will probably be like, oh, okay, well, this is the new normal. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, but it's going to probably start to shut down. It's probably going to be like, hey, we need food or else we're going to be totally fucked and we're not going to be able to literally walk out of the house or wake up and get out of bed every single day. And this is something that, I've fallen victim to a bunch of times where, you think, okay, if I just go extreme for the next 6 months, then I'm going to get everything I want. And then after that, I can just go back to who I was before. And that is the biggest trap, is thinking that you can just go back to the way things were and expect different results, right? So if you're trying to get ripped and you do this 40-day fast and you notice that, you're super lean now and maybe you have the confidence that you didn't have before when you weren't, but you find out that this is not sustainable and that you actually are going to either die or that you're going to start binge eating a lot and just get into this vicious cycle of eating disorders. And I like to use this example a lot because I think it influences a lot of people and it affects a lot of people, including myself. But I just want to reiterate that you actually doing this, you creating this extreme obsession, hustle value, hustle culture type thing that is so much promoted on the internet is not doing you any favors. And what really actually helps you, what moves the needle, is consistency. And it is not sexy, it is not fun, and it takes a long fucking time. And that's why I try to do everything in my life. I don't do anything in my life that I don't think I'll do every day for the rest of my life. So the things that I do every single day, like non-negotiable stuff, are journaling, meditating, reading, and training. And those are things that I love to do every single day. I like to do it even in the smallest amount possible because I know those are things that I want to carry on for the rest of my life. So if you're doing things just for the clout, if you're doing shit just for the attention of people and because you want the result and you think you can just go back to your normal ways of doing it, and keeping that result, then you're in for a rude awakening. And a lot of people have to learn this the hard way. But once you can get past that, you cannot do anything in an all or nothing fashion where you go 0 to 100 instantly and try to maintain that, you will never get to where you want to be. So what you do instead is you start small and you continue to press on and try and make it as easy as possible to do the behavior that you want to do. So as easy as possible, how can you stay in a caloric deficit? How easy is it for you to hit your protein goals? How easy is it for you to get the 10,000 steps that you need a day? How can you make that as easy as possible and make it as repeatable as possible? Consistency doesn't really come down to willpower or anything like that. It just comes down to how you set up your environment and how you set up your life so that it makes decision-making as easy as possible. I once heard Tony Robbins talking about decisions and how you can look at Tony Robbins or you can look at the way Steve Jobs decided to talk about decision making. And so Steve Jobs was like, all right, I'm just going to wear the same clothes every single day. That way I don't have to think about the fatigue of deciding what to wear every single day because it's super fucking hard apparently. Tony Robbins, on the other hand, says that you should try to make as much decisions as you can and just become a better decision maker in that sense. I agree with both of them in a sense because I think the less decisions you can make, the better if your two decisions are between is this a good thing and is this a bad thing? Because if you have the bad thing or the thing that's going to hurt you more, like if I have a table in front of me and I got cigarettes right here and I have to go walk to the grocery store to go get fruits, will I just smoke a cigarette right now, or will I go to the grocery store and get fruits? Obviously, I'm probably just going to smoke a cigarette because, willpower is fleeting and I don't have the discipline to do that. And, if that's not a good example for you, then think of something else that has the same value. So what do I do instead? Well, I have a table full of fruits next to me and I don't have cigarettes in my house. I don't have the things that I don't want to do in my house. So you create the environment that is conducive to the goal that you want to set or that you want to receive, or the result that you want to receive. So again, you cannot do this all or nothing type of shit because that never works, man. I'm telling you, I've done this so many times, and it's like, and if you have watched any of my recent videos, I've been talking about how I went on doing this vegan diet, and it's been 10 days or whatever, and you might think, oh well, that's very extreme, and it totally is, but it's also just a challenge for myself. It's not like this, and who knows, this could be something that I continue to do for the rest of my life, and this might be something that I will quit at the end of the month because it's not sustainable. Maybe it's not what I am. Maybe I'm not as ethically strong as I think I am. But the lesson here is that if you are always going on either extreme of anything, you are probably not getting the results that you want. And the consistency, the discipline, the willpower that you think exists out there for these people on YouTube that are not like you, that we all idolize because they're so productive and successful is not real. They just decided to show up every single day and do it without the rewards. And that just comes back to delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is the biggest thing that you can do for the success of your future self. I was having this conversation with my friend right before I got here, and I was talking about, like, do you look forward to the future? And he said, like, right now I don't. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I think about the future all the time, and that might take me out of the present moment, but I am so excited for the future. And if you don't have that feeling, then I can see why you wouldn't put yourself out there, why you wouldn't get and try and set new goals and do things like that if you don't see the beauty in, like, what could possibly be, what the potential is. A lot of people don't see their own potential, and it's really sad because maybe they don't have the support, maybe they don't have the people in their life that are pushing them to do things. And so if you don't have those people, let me be the person to be like, you actually can do whatever you want in this life. Now, if you're like from Nigeria, you're not going to be the president of America, and that's totally fine. That's maybe not even a goal that you would ever want anyways. But anything you want in this life is attainable in this life, and the whole universe will conspire for you. And that's just taken straight out of The Alchemist. And that book was really valuable, and I just read it for the first time ever, which is shocking because I'm such a self-help like whore. And knowing that if you set your thoughts to the frequency that you want, and this is going to get like stupidly vibrational for some reason, but if you set your thoughts to the frequency that you want, to be the person that you want every single day, and you start acting in accordance with that person, you will eventually hit your goal. So if I want to be successful on YouTube, what would that take? Well, that would require me to make YouTube videos consistently, improve, see where things can get better, understand where things have gone worse, and continue to put out and try and get more reps in. This whole channel is about repping the set. And that's not just in the fact of, you go to the gym and you hit the reps for the workout that you need to do. No, that's talking about representing where you're from. And that's something that I hold dearly to me and is a point of motivation that I think will help others too. Remember your family, remember where you're from, remember everything that has made you the person that you have become today. And you will actually see that there is so much to life and there's so much to be grateful for, and that there is so much motivation and intrinsic desire to become the best version of yourself with what little time we have on this planet. And this might just be like a philosophical video that doesn't reach anybody, and that's totally fine. But I think it needs to be said that you cannot do this all or nothing shit anymore. You do not go on crash diets. Do not do extreme gym regimens. Do not think you can just change your life overnight. And anytime you see somebody that like gets overnight fame or success or anything like that, know that they've probably been putting in the work, that they in fact put in a lot of work. Now, I don't want to say that like, oh, this person with one video on their YouTube channel went viral and this is a whole thing, because obviously virality is a different thing in its own. But to maintain that level requires a lot of work, and most of which is not seen by other people and will not be rewarded by other people. No one's going to give you a pat on the back on your journey. No one's going to give you a pat on the back when you reject the cookies and actually eat a piece of fruit or a vegetable. And that's okay. You're not a kid. You're not a kid. You don't need this, because you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing. Okay? So listen to your heart. Don't do anything all or nothing. Focus on consistency and showing up every single day. Try and get a little bit better every single day. And understand that if you don't get better every single day, that is not a failure. That is still consistency. If you're still trying and doing something else, and maybe you're trying something to be more creative, or you're trying to be more, you're trying to do something new that you think will work, and it doesn't work right off the bat. Keep trying, keep pushing. People are so scared of failure. Why? Because failure makes you feel inadequate. And I think most of us spend our entire lives feeling inadequate, and that's why we push to do something, to get higher status, to make more money, to have a better partner, to do whatever it might be. And that is just a trap that makes life so depressing and makes you pessimistic and makes you materialistic. It makes you not the type of person that is happy or satisfied by the end of their life. You're not going to live forever. And that's just the truth. And that's the only thing that is truth. Alex Hormozy said, and he said, there's nothing fatal in life other than death and maybe taxes or something like that. I don't know what the quote was, but anyways, it's so true. Failure is the only thing that, honestly, any goal requires as much failure as possible. I'm going to try and say that in a better way now. But the more you can fail, the quicker you can fail, the faster you get to that result. And I like to look at it in these kind of terms, like there's 1,000 doors in front of you, and you have the answer to a question that you've always had, or the result of a goal that you always had. And in order to get to that, there's no labels on the doors, there's no nothing. There are just different paths, or just different doors. Think of it like Monsters, Inc. if you want to. And every time you open a door, you see something to the end, and you realize, is that the thing that I want or not? And when you don't, you can close that door, and now your chances become higher every time you close another door. And every wrong door is a failure, but it is ultimately leading you to your goal, to the place that you want to be, to your highest version of yourself, which we should all attain to be. So this video was long and it was kind of convoluted, but I want to reiterate, do not go all or nothing on a behavior or a new action and think your life is going to change overall in the next 30 days. A 30-day challenge isn't going to save your life, isn't going to change everything unless you can maintain it. And that requires something that is sustainable and consistent and intrinsically motivated, not extrinsically. So if you like that video, like, subscribe. Always remember to rep the set. I'll see you in the next one.